Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of UA Eats. I'm UA, and we're back in New York City in the West Village, one of the best food neighborhoods in the whole world. Now, there's tons of great trendy restaurants here, but we're here for one of my favorite foods ever, sushi. As many of you may know, my favorite food ever is steak. But a close second is sushi. I view sushi as the only other food that is equivalent in quality and awesomeness as steak. Just fish and seafood version. Now, we've eaten sushi a few times on this channel, but we've usually eaten at more casual places. Only once have we eaten at an omakase place, and it was a budget omakase place. It was only 50 bucks. Today though, we'll be eating at a bougie, Michelin starred omakase sushi joint that is supposedly one of the best sushi joints in all of New York, maybe even the whole world. This place is called Sushi Nakazawa, and it's a Michelin star omakase sushi place. Now, Sushi Nakazawa was opened by the apprentice of Jiro, one of the best sushi masters in the whole world. You may have seen him in that documentary, Jiro Dreams of Sushi, where he made Nakazawa, yep, the owner of this restaurant, do nothing but make egg omelets for 1 year straight, just to really perfect the art of making omelets. Nakazawa took everything he learned and his talents here to New York City, and he opened a restaurant here, and everyone says it's one of the best sushi places in the whole US. The only catch though, it's not cheap. It's a whopping 180 bucks. Now, I love sushi, but I don't know if I like sushi that much. The most I've ever paid for sushi is 50 bucks. I'm usually more of a conveyor belt sushi and a high-end takeout sushi joint kind of guy. But lots of people love omakase joints. They think that the price is worth it, and they say that you get what you pay for. So we're gonna go to Sushi Nakazawa today, arguably the best and most famous sushi restaurant in the whole US, and we're gonna see if $180 omakase is worth it. So come on, let's go check it out. Okay guys, so we're inside of Sushi Nakazawa. We made a reservation for lunch and we're seated at the lunch counter here, and it's kind of cool because we can watch the guy doing his craft, making the sushi right in front of us. Now, this is probably one of my first times ever eating at a Michelin star restaurant, and it's a really, really fancy place, I gotta say. Very quiet, serene atmosphere, really, really, really nice. Everything is just really delicate, really minimalist, and it's a really cool atmosphere. Alright guys, so we just finished eating at Sushi Nakazawa. We were gonna originally do our eat while talking original spiel, but we were kind of getting some judgmental stares, and it was a really quiet and posh and bougie atmosphere, so we decided that we would film ourselves eating, and then we would come outside afterwards for some commentary. So, let's go through everything that we ate. Now, just setting foot inside the restaurant, you could already tell that it was gonna be a special experience. Really good service, really nice atmosphere, really quiet and serene, and therefore not really good conditions for me to talk and eat at the same time. The first sign though that it was going to be a great place was that they were grating the wasabi by hand. They weren't just using wasabi from a tube or from a jar or something. The wasabi was being freshly grated, and that's when you know it's going to be a good place. The first thing we tried was the pickled ginger, and to be honest, it was very average. It just kind of tasted like pickled ginger from any Japanese restaurant. The first item we got though was a kind of Japanese tuna, and it was good. It had really good, rich tuna flavor. It kind of tasted like more of a lean tuna rather than like a medium or like a fatty tuna. But one thing kind of caught me off guard right away is that the rice was a little bit too warm. They were scooping the rice straight out of the rice cooker, and steam was even escaping out of it, and I kind of feel like sushi rice should be a little bit more room temperature. Maybe this is just personal preference, and maybe, I don't know, who knows? I've only had omakase twice in my life. Maybe I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I found the rice was way too warm, way too hot, and the temperature of the rice, it almost kind of overshadowed the taste of the fish, if that makes sense. Oftentimes when you eat Japanese food like sushi or rice balls, oftentimes they will use a fan to fan the rice and keep it at the perfect temperature. So the rice was a little bit too warm, and it at least wasn't for me. Next up was a fan favorite, salmon. Maybe the most common sushi piece, although not traditionally a Japanese sushi fish, but a favorite of me and most people in the Western Hemisphere. And it was good. It was really tasty, not fishy at all, melted in your mouth, great salmon, fresh salmon flavor. Once again, the rice was too warm, so that still distracted from the natural taste of the fish, but we were overall off to a good start. Next up though was king salmon from New Zealand. And this was not just a raw salmon, this was a blow-torched piece of salmon. So it was cooked a little bit on the outside, and that was awesome. That was way better than the last salmon piece, which was good, but not the best salmon piece I've ever had. The king salmon kind of had almost a bit of a smoky flavor, and by blow-torching it, it kind of gave it like a charred taste as well. The salmon piece before it was good, but overpowered by the warm rice. This piece was great, and the warm rice almost complemented the cooked salmon perfectly, just like how warm foods all go together. That cooked salmon piece, excellent. Now next up was scallop, which unfortunately I was not able to eat because I have a shellfish allergy. I think what they replaced it with was tuna, I think, but unfortunately I lost the footage, so just take my word for it, it was good. The next item though was really interesting. The next item was a squid dish, and it kind of had like a sauce on top. I kind of forget what the sauce was, but the squid was really interesting in that usually squid and octopus can be really chewy and rubbery, but it was really, really soft. It didn't feel like eating an eraser. It was almost like al dente squid sushi. I don't know if that makes sense. It had like a bite and a chew, but it wasn't chewy. So that was really interesting. Now, next up was Dungeness crab, and like I mentioned, I have a shellfish allergy, so I was not able to eat that, but here's some footage in case you want to look at it. Next, they gave me a tuna piece. The tuna piece was a substitution for the crab piece. It was really good. It was like a medium fatty tuna, not quite fatty, but kind of medium fatty, and scored a little bit, so it looked beautiful and it tasted good. Once again, I still found the rice to be a little bit too warm. I really do think that sushi rice should be more room temperature, you know, they should be fanning it, but the fish itself was good. Then next up, after we had some tunas, some salmons, some more meatier, heavier fishes, next up was a fluke piece. And who knows, maybe it was just a fluke, but the fluke piece was, it was not really that great. I'm just gonna be honest. Maybe I just don't like fluke. Maybe that's just what fluke is like, but I found it a little bit too chewy. That was a miss. The next piece was a blow-torched piece of golden snapper, and we were kind of on a downward trajectory, but this quickly reversed the stock right away. Not only did it have some nice blow-torched, smoky, charred flavor, what was cool was that they left a piece of skin on the golden snapper. So the skin got a little bit blow-torched, the skin got a little bit crispy. I really, really liked it. I don't think I've ever had a sushi piece like that in my whole life. Next up were two mackerels. One was more of a normal or maybe a Japanese mackerel. The next was a Spanish mackerel. The first mackerel, it kind of had like a weird aftertaste, almost like a earthy flavor. Maybe just me, maybe I just don't like mackerel that much, but I at least prefer more of a broiled mackerel, less of a raw mackerel. The second one, the Spain mackerel piece, at first I wasn't really impressed. At first I thought it didn't really have good standout flavor and it just tasted like an ordinary, more light piece of fish, but it actually was hay smoked. That's what the chef told us. It really had a nice aftertaste, like a nice smoky aftertaste that you only get from smoke. In this case, hay smoke in Spain. So that one was, you know, a sleeper hit. Next up were two more pieces. The first one was sort of like yellowtail. I think he called it striped tail. I forget the name exactly. And the next one was striped jack. The yellowtail, I was really excited for it because I really, really like yellowtail sushi. I just really like the flavor and it can be really soft. I was not impressed. It was almost a little bit chewy and the flavor was kind of bland, so that was disappointing. The striped jack, I'm not really sure what striped jack usually tastes like, but that one was better than I expected. It kind of helped to rebound from the yellowtail. It was soft, it melted in your mouth, not too fishy. That was solid. At this point, we were in the home stretch. The chef brought out the big guns, the tunas, and he broke down all of the pieces, both metaphorically and literally. He explained the differences between the lean tuna, the medium tuna, and the fatty tuna, and then he sliced them and diced them and prepared them right in front of our eyes. The lean tuna was good. It kind of had your typical tuna flavor you might expect. Like, you know, if you ever eat like tuna steaks or seared tuna, just think of that, but raw form. It was soft, it had great tuna flavor, very good. But then when we got to the medium tuna, oh, that fat infused inside it, oh man, that fat just melts in your mouth, just like a ribeye steak. It gives the tuna flavor and it makes it soft and tender. You really almost don't need to chew it, you just put it in your mouth and the saliva will just break it down immediately. So delicious, that medium tuna, perfect balance between more lean, heavy tuna flavor and delicious fat. My favorite piece of the whole day. And then next up we had fatty tuna. Now when I put this in my mouth, at first I was like, Oh my goodness. So much tuna fat in one bite. I felt like I was in like sushi heaven. It was amazing. However, I will say that as good as it was at the time, the aftertaste was a bit strong. The chef himself even said so himself. He said he feels like one piece is enough. I would probably agree. I feel like this is one of those too much of a good thing things. I think you really need to restrain yourself to one piece. If you eat a second piece, it's going to be too much. So for that reason, I still prefer the medium tuna, but let me know what you guys think. Oh, and there also was a tuna hand roll, but I felt like it was only okay. It tasted good, and the nori was nice and crispy and fresh, but I prefer it to be more ice cream cone-like. Because it was just a cylinder, it kind of was falling out of the bottom. So, not the best structure. The last two pieces were pieces I was looking forward to all day. The eel and the famous Nakazawa egg. Eel has always been one of my favorite sushi pieces, one of my favorite Japanese food things to eat in general. Like I love eel bowls, unagi, barbecue dons. In this case, the eel, you know, when they were making it, I was not really that impressed. I always thought that eel was supposed to have more of a dark color, so I was like, I don't know, why is it looking so pale and unappetizing? I almost wondered if he took out the wrong thing. I was thinking, is this like pre-frozen or something? But after he torched it and then served it to us, oh my goodness, that eel piece. Eel usually kind of has like a stronger flavor, like a very distinct eel flavor. That eel, I don't know, it was smoky from the blowtorch. The eel flavor was strong yet subtle at the same time. Also, it wasn't too fatty, like it felt sort of lean, but also had some nice flavor and some juiciness at the same time. My two favorite pieces that day, one the medium tuna, the other, it might have just been that eel. And lastly, I got the famous Nakazawa egg. The Nakazawa egg piece that Jiro made him spend a whole year straight, or was it a few years? A whole year straight doing nothing but making this omelet. Unfortunately, there was one very important caveat. The caveat was I could not eat shrimp, and I had no idea that that egg omelet had shrimp in it. So Tina ate the one with shrimp in it, and she said it was amazing. She said it was the greatest egg thing she'd ever eaten. She said it just had the perfect balance of sweetness, egginess, and even a hint of savoriness, which might have been from the shrimp, but she couldn't really detect the shrimp flavor, so I guess the shrimp really did its job. Unfortunately, they could only give me a non-shrimp egg piece, and I thought it was good, but it kind of just tasted like your standard egg custard. You know, it was delicious and sweet and eggy, and yeah, I mean, it was good, but it didn't blow my mind like I thought it would. But hey, that's probably just because of my allergy. I'm sure the real piece was great. Then finally at the end, I gotta say, at this point, not just me, but everyone on the table was getting pretty stuffed. Except for Tina. I'm not really sure why. Tina was like a, you know, she was like a bottomless pit that day. Usually it's the other way around, but I was really filling up fast. It's actually a lot of food, so if you're going for lunch, maybe skip breakfast. But even though I was at 100% capacity, they said there was dessert left, so I loosened my belt and dove into dessert. And I'm glad I gave it a shot because it was a Japanese creme brulee without any egg. Like a Japanese style no egg creme brulee. And let me tell you, that was one of the top 10 desserts I've ever had. It was delicious. And not just delicious because it was sweet and buttery, actually the opposite. It was extremely subtle. The cream was really subtle, not too heavy, not too rich, but that crunchy creme brulee glass on top, it had some great caramel flavor, not overwhelming, not like you're eating like a candy bar, and it paired perfectly with the more light Japanese cream. My only complaint is that the spoon they gave us was square-shaped and not round. So it looks artistic, but it's not really convenient to use. So Sushi Nakazawa, if you watch this video, just go with normal spoons. The square ones, they don't really cut it. But yeah, anyways, that was the end of our meal. So now for the $1 million question, or in this case, the $180 question. It was a good meal. It was a good time. It was kind of like dinner and a show. So you're not just getting good food, but you're also seeing them make it. That being said, $180 is still a lot of money, and after tax and tip, it's more like $230 a person. So now begs the question, was Sushi Nakazawa arguably the best sushi place in New York? One of the best sushi places in the world? Was it worth all this money? And yeah, I guess if I can share my honest opinion, it was good, but I didn't think it was like phenomenally great. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it a 9, maybe even like an 8.8, but I wouldn't give it a 10, and I probably wouldn't give it a 9.5 either. It was good sushi. Some of the sushi pieces I had were some of the best sushi pieces I've ever had. I wouldn't say the sushi overall was heads and shoulders better than all the sushi I've had in my life. Like, I would say my favorite sushi place, Sushi 35 West, a hole-in-the-wall sushi place that was opened by former Michelin Star sushi chefs. I would say that place was about 80% as good as this place. But ironically, it might have been almost 80% cheaper. Like, you can get a sushi meal there for like 20 bucks, like a fraction of the price. So yeah, Sushi Nakazawa was better, but it wasn't like significantly better. It was only sort of slightly better, or maybe more than slightly better. Don't get me wrong, it was outstanding sushi, but it wasn't like sushi on like a godly level, like the way people talk about it. It was very good sushi, but it was not like heaven on earth. On top of that, this might just be my personal preference, but I found the atmosphere here also kind of stuffy. It was a really bougie, posh place. It was not really an approachable place, and it was not really a relaxing place to eat. Like, I feel like when I eat food, I want to really have fun. I want to really let loose. I want to really let myself enjoy the food and have an atmosphere where I can talk and socialize and not feel like I have to be on my best behavior. At this place, the food was good, but I know sushi joints that are 80% as good and are much more relaxing and fun to eat at. So, in my opinion, just my opinion, Sushi Nakazawa, in my opinion, it's not worth it. It's not worth 180 bucks. I think the most I would ever spend on this place is 100 bucks maybe, but that's just my opinion, and that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comments if you've been to Sushi Nakazawa, and also let me know what your favorite sushi place is. Let me know in the comments, because great minds eat alike. If you like my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. That way you stay up to date whenever I post another video. Until next time, I'll see you later.